All right, guys, hello and welcome back to the Honors Podcast. Today with me, I have an awesome, amazing, talented, somewhat crazy person with me on the podcast today.
Welcome to the Honors Podcast.
Shauna, would you like to introduce yourself to our listeners?
Hi guys, my name's Shauna Skow, as Reed so kindly introduced me. I'm a biology major with a minor in chemistry and creative writing, and I'm a senior here at High Point University.
Love it. We got that awesome combination of studying things. Where are you from?
I'm from Lynchburg, Virginia.
Love it. And what's your campus involvement? I know you're a D1 athlete for one thing.
So I ran cross country for 4 years, track for 3. So I actually quit the D1 team as of recent. Just a few things. I guess I haven't updated. Like, it's kind of a new life update. But yeah,
You're
kind of
still on the roster. Because I was trying to look you up earlier today, and Shauna Skow, and then just came up your cross country roster.
Yeah. So yeah, still there, but not performing.
Okay, but you were involved in that for most of your time here.
Yes, for 4 years. Yeah.
Any other clubs or other organizations around campus?
So now I've been getting into every single intramural that I can do. So that's been really fun. Pre-dental club. And then Community U, which is affiliated with our church.
That was fun. Dentistry club, was that what you're interested in looking into?
Yeah. Yes. So, another part of that decision, obviously, to leave the team was kind of just focusing on, running's not my future. And I want to focus on dental applications and studying for the DAT, things like that, which is really hard to do when you're practicing 20 plus hours a week.
Yeah, for sure. Okay. Biology major, chemistry, creative writing minors. Let's just focus on biology. How did you decide on that major, and kind of how does it work here at HPU, kind of for those who might be interested in it?
Yeah, so I knew I wanted to be pre-dental, and pre-dental isn't really a major, so you kind of look at what schools you want to go to and what their requirements are. You can really major in anything, but you just need to hit those requirements. So biology, I saw hit most of the things that I needed, so I wanted something that kind of aligned with that. So being a bio major here at High Point, it's kind of like cell bio, genetics, ecology, and then once you hit those, you can get into your upper level elective where you can kind of start picking what classes you want to take. So right now I'm taking microbiology and immunology. I really, really love microbio. It's kind of very hands-on and just looking at bacteria and just the science on that micro level.
Okay. And then for you personally, where did the minors come in, and what was that story?
So coming in, I definitely knew I wanted to be a creative writing minor because I wanted to take classes that weren't just science. Obviously, honors helps with that as well. But writing has also always been one of my passions, and I do want to be an author one day. So I decided to pick up my creative writing minor as soon as I got here. And those have honestly been some of my favorite classes. Just getting to work with the same professors have especially made it, and just use that creative aspect of my brain that I don't get to use in my science classes. It really makes me think in a whole new way, which I really, really appreciate. And then as for my chemistry minor, I do wish I kind of became a biochem major. So for those considering the different majors, in my prereqs, obviously I have to take chemistry up to Orgo 2 and biochem as well. And I just really fell in love with chemistry, and I was like, I really want to keep doing this. And to finish out my minor, I only had to take 2 more upper elective chem classes. And kind of going into my senior year, it's like you can make it really easy, or you could keep pushing yourself and keep learning. And that's kind of the route that I wanted to take.
We love it. That's awesome. And then how has learning about these different things, biology particularly, affected your life?
Oh, okay. Great question. I mean, our world is so unique. And I think to get to understand it on such a deeper level is just so cool. I mean, the ways that our bodies are moving and working every single day, like people can't even name all the bones or muscle groups, like things like that. Like I have a deeper understanding in, and I really appreciate that. And just, it helps you to really just like, for me personally, just enjoy the world in a new light and just a whole way more educated. Like I can understand how these things are coming together and working, and how my body's able to do the things that it's able to do every single day.
That's cool. Does it give you any good writing material too? Because I love writing science fiction. I'm also an English major. And sometimes I wish I knew more sciencey things, because you'd be like, is that how that actually works? Or like some like cool.
Yeah, that's really interesting. I never thought of that. Well, one of the authors that I really, really look up to, her name's Allie Hazelwood. And so she's a scientist, and she also writes romance novels on the side. And so with all of her books, they're very like science oriented, like a girl who's getting her PhD, like things like that. And it's like how she's able to incorporate those two worlds and like talk about that so accurately. Like I definitely appreciate. I don't know if it's inspired necessarily something, but yeah, like
For sure. Well, you got something. So in the future, look forward to see what happens from that. Speaking of stories, your story way back in the day. So I'm interested in kind of about your context. Where and how did you grow up?
So I grew up in Lynchburg, Virginia. Very Christian dominated. I think the biggest thing that's going on in that town is Liberty University, which is the #1 Christian university in the world. So that's kind of the bubble that I grew up in. And it's kind of like pushing people in and out of Liberty. So I kind of thought that I would end up there. But here I am in a whole new bubble, which is High Point University. And I love my decision. I've never regretted it once. And I would make it a million times over.
Yeah. And what about like when you were like a really young child? Like, were you an outdoorsy kid or like inside a lot? Like,
Yeah. Actually, I have a really funny story. So when I was in kindergarten, my teacher, I want to say professor, but I'm like, my teacher, she gave us a prompt, and she was like, okay, you can write a nonfiction or a fiction story for class. And obviously being a kindergartner, you're going to pick fiction. You're going to pick whenever you can. But me, I had just gone to the dentist. And I was like, this is the coolest story ever. I was like, I'm going to pick nonfiction, and I'm going to write about my trip to the dentist. So that's exactly what I did. I entered the nonfiction category, and I ended up winning for my school, which is absolutely insane. And I ended up going to the state competition. My mom claims I came in third. I have no memory of this. But just looking back at who I was as a kid, I think it's so interesting to see like the peak in dentistry that I had at such an early age. And not only that, but the interest to write about it. Like genuinely my two passions came together at such a young age. And when I was little, I was constantly making up stories, constantly writing about stories. And I think I always knew that that's something that I wanted to pursue, but at the same time, I had this other side of me that was like really focused on the sciences and like understanding how things worked and going into healthcare. And it was like, I really loved helping people. Like, I really loved learning. And like, that's one thing I love about science is like, you're never done learning. There's always something that you can keep going in. Even in dentistry, it's like, okay, well, what do I want to specialize in? Like, I can always go back to school, and that's something that I loved about that career field. So I feel like I was a very, I guess, curious and like creative kid. And so that all kind of transferred into my decision here. Like, not to say that it was a straight path of like from kindergarten to senior year of high school, I wanted to be a dentist. Like, obviously I had those times where I was like, ooh, this piques my curiosity. This piques my curiosity. But ultimately, like, coming full circle is really cool.
That's good.
I
So
hope that answered your question.
no, that's a really good answer. But now I'm like, did you want to be a dentist when you were in kindergarten? Or like, did you have some other thing? Oh, I want to be this when I grow up.
Yeah, I think I did. I also really love teaching.
Yeah.
And so I was like, if I could help others learn like that. But one thing that I think deterred me from that was like, I also really love kids and I really want to have my own family. So like, how can I also support that dream? So ultimately, dentistry is the answer.
Dentistry is the answer. We love it. Speaking of stories as a child, what was your favorite story as a child? Like movie, TV show, book series?
So
Besides Harry Potter.
you know, he knows it too well. Yeah, so Harry Potter, obviously. But my dad, I love the Dr. Seuss books. And I think those are kind of definitely what started me writing my own stories.
For sure. I can see that.
So funny story is my dad used to read me Green Eggs and Ham every night. Well, I would ask specifically for that one. And he read it to me so many times that I had memorized it. This is before I knew how to read.
Oh.
So I memorized it and convinced my parents that I now knew how to read because I just recited it back to them. And yeah, I had no idea, but because he read that story to me so often.
That's great. I love that. But I will acknowledge that you do love Harry Potter as well. Well, that's good. And I want to know what your analysis is of What's My House.
Oh, that's so interesting.
I know what it is based off the Harry Potter fan website.
Okay.
I don't know.
I would say, I feel like you have to be Hufflepuff. Is that not right?
I was Ravenclaw.
Wow. Okay, I was going to say like maybe secondarily Ravenclaw. Do you agree with that?
I don't fully know in depth enough what the personalities are.
Have you read the books?
I've just seen the movies and then I read the first 2 books.
Okay.
Because like I prefer books, I feel like. But it was kind of hard with Harry Potter because like I knew how it was going to end and I feel like the movies follow it pretty closely enough. There wasn't too much extra in the books. Just a few extra ghosts here and there.
Yeah, peeves. Oh my goodness. That's so funny.
Yeah.
Huh.
Good. So I guess why Harry Potter? What's with that?
Oh gosh, you are diving in. I'm like, actually, so it's kind of like a more somber story. So I really fell in love with Harry Potter during COVID. And
this was not like as a child.
No, it was during COVID. I got COVID and had to be away from everyone for 2 weeks. And that was leading up to Christmas. So I think I got out of quarantine the day after Christmas, December 26th. And I was like, wow, like it literally could not have been worse timing. It was just so sad. And I think everyone in my family was just really sad that we couldn't see like other family, that like no one wanted to celebrate Christmas. And it was like, what is going on? And so during that time, I kind of picked up the Harry Potter books and watching the movies obviously as I went along, and just being transformed into a world that wasn't my own, like being in a really sucky situation. It was like getting to live somewhere else, and that's like kind of very comforting. So that's how I fell in love with Harry Potter.
That's very cool. And then I guess what's the question I had about that? What lessons do you take from Harry Potter in navigating college?
Yeah. Okay. I actually included a little bit about Harry Potter in my college application, personal essays, because it really did become like a big part of like who I came to be. I think just I can relate everything to Harry Potter. Like you give me something and I'll find a way. I love just the idea of like good versus evil. One thing I really, really love is Harry Potter being an underdog. And I think it was like, if you really read the books, it's kind of like, especially in the fourth movie when he's in the Triwizard Tournament and everyone just hates him. Like they have buttons that say Harry Potter sucks, like things like that. And you're just like, this is the guy who's going to save the world. Like, why are we hating on him? But I think because obviously the whole world of Harry Potter, it's like all connected to him. But if you actually take time and read the books, while he's like triumphing over Voldemort, like no one really liked him except for his close circle. And so I feel like that's just a great example of like, just because you're pursuing and like something good does not mean that everyone's going to be supporting and loving of you. Yeah. I don't know. Is that a big takeaway?
I mean, I don't know. I didn't read it, but I can see that. Yeah, I'm just thinking there's like so many weird parodies of Harry Potter and offshoot fan fiction. Yeah.
Yeah. And spoiler alert, I mean, Harry Potter being a Horcrux himself, like huge plot twist.
I know. Yeah, I remember watching that in the movies and I was like, yeah. I was talking to one of my friends the other day and they've only seen the first 5 Harry Potter movies. And like, you haven't seen Deathly Hallows? That's like
It's the best book for sure.
yeah, that's where it takes off. And I was like,
Yeah.
that's crazy. Okay, so you kind of mentioned Virginia with Liberty University, and then you somehow ended up here. What's the story with that? When like, why did you choose High Point University?
Yeah. So I'm the youngest. I have 2 older siblings. Both went to Liberty. And when I was telling my older brother about the colleges that I was applying to, me and my best friends, I kind of didn't really know being a senior in high school, you don't really know what it looks like to go to college. You don't understand the decision that you're making fully. And so you kind of just throw out some colleges. He was like, where are you applying? I'm like, Miami. And he's like, Miami? He's like, that's like a huge party school. He's like, is that what you want to do? I'm like, no, like I'm going to school like to be a bio major. Like obviously I'm not trying to party, but he's like, okay, like maybe we should look at like some other schools. And that is really true. Like with SEC schools and ACC schools, like that is a big part of their social like thing. Like it's going to be there whether or not you're doing it or not. And I think that takes a majority. So that definitely is a factor in where you want to go to school. So he was like, let's look at like some smaller schools. Like obviously it's not like he was like, oh, you have to go one way or the other, but it's just like, make sure you know kind of what you're looking for. And so I kind of was like researching some smaller schools in the area. High Point University came up. I was like, okay, that's 2 or so hours away. And just started looking into it. I really love the values of God, family, country. I think that's something that really drew me in because that's kind of how I prioritize things as well. And so going to a school that also aligns with that was really huge. And honestly, I think the thing that drew me in the most was just the security of High Point. Like, I absolutely love that at any time I can walk around campus. Like, if I want to go for a walk at 2 a.m. and feel safe, I can 100% do that. And that's the biggest thing to me because, like, in Virginia, like, we have VCU, like, different colleges like that. Charlotte, UVA, like, Charlottesville. Like, I would not ever want to use the campus because I'm just too scared to be walking around. And so like, what's the point of going to a school where I can't even participate in the things that I want to do because I don't feel safe? So huge factor. And also like the class sizes, like you are not just a number here, and just building the amount of relationships that I've built with my professors. I adore that. Talking to people who do go to bigger schools, it's like, oh, my smaller classes are like 40. And that's like maybe. And I'm like, wow, my biggest classes is maybe 30 people. So I'm like, how can your professors even know you? Like they don't. You're just a number to them. And that's what I've heard. But I'm just like so thankful that I don't have professors that view me as a number, and they view me as a person. And especially being a D1 athlete, like I had to miss a lot of classes and like make up tests and things like that. And they've just always been so understanding of that. And even like when I think about going to dental school, like, and getting recommendation letters, like I want to ask professors that truly know me and can speak to my character. And I literally am in a class for my chem minor that has 10 students in it and 2 professors. So that's a 1-to-5 ratio of student to professor. And genuinely, I like wouldn't have it any other way. Like it is such an advantage, just getting to build those relationships with them, and you learn so much better. There's nowhere to hide. And I think that is the best thing.
That's great. And then you kind of already touched on this a little bit, but why did you decide on honors, especially when you had your other options of natural science fellows and things like that?
Yeah. Yeah, that's another reason why I came to High Point, because I got into the honors program. And because being a bio major and wanting to go to dental school, like it's pretty ambitious. Like, you know, it's hard stuff. And I wanted somewhere that could push me academically, especially since I knew I was going to be an athlete. I knew I was going to be around people who were going to be, sports was going to be their number one priority. And I didn't want that for my life. I wanted to prioritize school. That's why I'm coming here. So I think honors really helped to surround me with people who were like-minded and wanted to pursue the same thing as me.
Yeah, cool. Sorry, I'm losing my voice a little bit. I have a throwback for you.
Okay.
So part of the podcast is I get access to the challenge photo archive.
Oh, gosh.
So I have a little fun thing, and it involves Harry Potter.
Yay!
So here's something Shauna has written in her lovely prose. Though Harry Potter is merely a complete series of books, I have changed it into a lifestyle. I love to constantly find ways to escape into the world of Harry Potter, and so for 30 minutes of killing the noise, I decided to kill my Harry Potter obsession. In the picture shown you can see my roommate Lauren pouring gasoline onto my Harry Potter books as I sit alone in horror.
Oh my gosh, I do remember this. Yeah. Killing the noise.
It was fun.
That's
I was reading it
hilarious.
before I got the picture, and I was like, where did they get gasoline? But no, it's just a milk carton.
It's an oat milk carton. I would never let any damage come to my books.
No, oh wait, now I'm seeing the like Dumbledore calendar in the back. What is this?
Oh, I have a full-size cardboard cutout of Draco Malfoy. Like, I don't play.
Oh, that's crazy. That's good. I never asked you what your house was. I feel like is it Hufflepuff?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's the best house. That's why I'm like, you would be in it. Read with me.
Yeah, I see. I feel like I would be in Hufflepuff.
You're so Hufflepuff-coded.
What distinct Hufflepuff from Ravenclaw? This is like my confusion.
Okay. So I think, obviously, with the Sorting Hat, I don't even think it's like, that's another thing. Great Harry Potter lesson. Like with the houses, it's not necessarily about who you are as a person. It's more about who you want to be. Because like in this story, obviously, in this world, you're coming into the Harry Potter world like 11 years old.
Yeah.
And you don't know who you are yet. And so with these houses, it's kind of helping you get to who you want to be. And it definitely, like with Harry Potter, he was like, not Slytherin, not Slytherin. And the hat was like, oh, are you sure? Like, I see you being successful in Slytherin, but because Harry didn't want to be in Slytherin, he got put in Gryffindor. So like, it does take into account like your goals and what you want to do. So Gryffindor, chivalrous, brave, really, you think more of the extroverts for sure. And then, but you also have people like Neville, who's not super extroverted. But it's just kind of that core, like when it comes down to it, what are the things that you value? And Hufflepuff is kind of loyalty. That's really where I see myself. I'm a very loyal person, and that's kind of what I prioritize. Humbleness, determination, things like that. And then Ravenclaw, it's very like values knowledge and just like wise. And so you're kind of like knowledge driven. Like and like it's like yes, but I don't know. So like I see I see that in you, but maybe like a secondary house. Do you agree or no?
Yeah, based off that, then I would definitely probably lean more towards Ravenclaw.
Okay.
Cause yeah, I'm not loyal.
Wait, what? You know?
I will switch sides very quickly.
Maybe you're Slytherin.
No.
No.
My parents, I'm ashamed to say, don't understand Harry Potter culture whatsoever. And I was explaining to them over fall break recently that like this is like general cultural knowledge and like people know your Harry Potter house and like it's just like something like your zodiac sign that people know about you. And they're like, really? I don't understand this. And then they were like, what house am I? And I looked to my siblings at my mom was like, she's Slytherin. Because she really is. But in like the like non-evil way.
Yeah.
Which I feel like that's also an interesting misconception. Because like Slytherin wasn't inherently evil.
No.
They were just like, they were very like, do what it takes mentality.
Yeah. And well, the thing is, it's what Hagrid says in the first book is there wasn't a witch or wizard that went bad who wasn't from Slytherin. Not me.
Yeah.
But Peter Pettigrew was from Gryffindor and turned out to be an evil witch, or wizard. So, yeah, I think it is. They're not inherently evil, and there's that kind of division within the Hogwarts houses. But it's just a bunch of kids who are kind of learning,
just a bunch
growing.
of kids.
Yeah, they're literally just kids.
Yeah, sometimes I wonder. I'm like walking around High Point and like just college in general, and like, what is this? Like, we're just a bunch of like 18 to 22-year-olds walking around like acting like we know what's up.
In a dollhouse.
Yeah,
I just love it though.
Yeah. It's so fun. Okay. I do want to give you a chance to talk about some cool research that you've been doing because High Point has great opportunities with doing summer research and stuff, or especially even for our undergrad students. So I wonder if you could touch on that journey and what you've been doing research on.
Of course. I love talking about research because coming to High Point, like that is another great advantage. So I did not want to do research at all. I hadn't planned on doing that. And then like all my friends kind of were doing research. And one thing I love about High Point, we don't have like really, I mean, obviously we're working towards graduate schools, but because our graduate schools aren't super big right now, like we have a lot of chance for undergraduates to do research. And I think not a lot of universities have that. That's a huge advantage. And I didn't really take advantage of that until taking biochemistry my junior year. And so fall semester, Dr. Hamilton comes in, teaches me some biochem, and she was like, hey guys, like, since I'm new here, it's my first year, I'm like starting a lab. And I was like, oh, okay, like if I wanted to start research, this would be the perfect opportunity. So yeah, so then I kind of expressed interest in her lab, and she talked about how very cool, essentially the grand scheme of her research is kind of seeing if life can exist outside of Earth. So fungi have this morphological dimorphic switch where they can better live in extreme environments. And so by first seeing what genes are kind of used for them to do this, kind of seeing if they can potentially exist outside of Earth and eventually scale that up to bigger organisms. And yeah, I was like, okay, like research can be cool. So then I joined her lab, did it my whole junior year, and she was like, hey, like there's this summer advantage or SERPS summer undergraduate research program. They give you a $2,000 stipend, they pay for your board and for your dining plan. So if you'd like to do that, I'm going to offer you a spot in my lab. And I was like, okay, perfect. Like I'll sign up. Signed up. And so how it works is it's kind of like a full-time job. It's 5 days a week, and you kind of set up your schedule with your professor. So we set up the schedule of 9 to 5, which is super, like your professor like helps you kind of cater to what you want to get out of it. Like for me, I was like, I need to be able to like run, exercise in the morning. So like if we could start later, which I really appreciated that. And to me, I think it sounds like at first you're like, wow, 9 to 5, like that's a full-time job. Like that kind of seems like a lot. It's kind of scary, but it really prepares you for what life looks like once we get out of college. And one thing that I realized is it was actually so much fun. Like, genuinely, and like, I'm not even glazing the SERPs program right now. Like, the best summer I've ever had. And I'm like, how did I go from someone who was like, I'm never going to do research, to being like, I wasn't going to do research my senior year, but like, give me more experiments to run. Like, I'm ready. And I think like SERPs, from just doing research during your class schedule, it's a lot harder because you don't have as much time in the day. Like, you have 8 hours that you can just sit down and like do everything that you need to do to get progress moving towards your experiments, and getting results. And one thing that I've struggled with coming back and doing research is like, I feel like I don't have enough time to do everything that I want to do, because I went from 8 hours a day to 3 hours a week. And so I think I just like find myself missing it. And I think that's crazy. It gives you also, they do like a symposium at the end where you just get to talk about your research. I ended up doing both an oral presentation and a poster presentation by myself. And you would think that that's super scary, but when you just know what you're doing on such a deeper level, it's like, you're not scared. You're just excited to get to share with people what you've been working so hard on. So that's really exciting. And then as for upcoming, I'm going to Elon this weekend to present my research, which is really exciting. And then I'm going to Atlanta, Georgia in the spring semester for the ACS conference. Yeah.
Oh,
Which is the American Chemical Society.
that's awesome.
Yes.
You're doing such cool things, Shauna.
Thanks.
I love to
Great
hear about it.
opportunities. Like, and I wouldn't be able to do that if I didn't come to High Point University. So
There you go. We love to hear it. So after hearing all that and all the crazy, cool, amazing things you've done, as you're going through the rest of your senior year and reflecting on your past, what would you say in your experience is the point of college?
I think is just, you learn a lot about yourself. You learn a lot of like socially, like we talked about, we're kind of in this dollhouse where you're waking up with like almost like 10 feet away from someone at all times. Like, you are never going to be like that again. This close to your friends, this close to your peers, have such easy access to tutoring, to study groups, to everything. And it's like, kind of, how much do you want to invest in that academically, socially, however you want to put that. I think it kind of teaches you like, yeah, what you want to prioritize as an individual, like whether that's sports, whether that's your education. And that all, like, this is the first time where you're kind of not really told what to do anymore. Like, you have elementary, middle, high school, all while you're living under your parents' roof. And now all of a sudden, like, the world is your oyster. You can do whatever you want. If you want to party all night, like, and get bad grades, like, that's your decision. So it's like, that's so much character building. And I think that's why it's so important to set yourself up for success. Like, where you want to go to school, what you want to major in, whether or not you want to be like take a shot and join the honors program or like apply, and like thinking about your goals and what you want to accomplish is so crucial, because that shapes everything that you're going to do and the situations that you're going to put yourself in. And I would say, like, my biggest word of advice is just to invest yourself into different opportunities as best as you can. Because I know if I could talk to my freshman year self, like, I would say I hate learning and I'm only doing this like because I have to, because I want to get this degree, because I want to do dentistry. But it's like, genuinely now, this is so funny. I was like, on the first day of class, like, this summer, like I say, like, this was my favorite summer ever. And it really, really, really taught me how to love learning. And I like realized that I haven't always loved learning. Like, freshman and sophomore year, I did not love learning. And once you kind of like unlock that and like really just choose to invest yourself while you're here, it's like the world just opens up. Yeah.
Good answer. Love it. All right. And then we have one final question for you, which is not my question. So another podcast tradition is the previous guest has left a question for you to answer.
Oh.
And then you'll leave a question for the next guest.
Okay.
So the previous guest wants to know, what's been the most meaningful part of your college experience?
Wow. Like, how would you take this? Like, meaningful.
Like, that makes me think of like a specific moment.
Mm-hmm.
Like, what was a moment? Which you kind of like have just said the vague, like, this was everything. But what was like the moment?
The moment.
The most meaningful moment of your college experience?
Wow, I feel like it's so hard to like wrap that into one moment.
Yeah. Because it's so much packed into 4 years.
Yeah. I don't know if I have a moment. I think for me, it's like just the people kind of, I think the people make it meaningful. And just like thinking about my friends and all the people that I've kind of established, like I want to be permanently a part of my life. Like, it's like, you meet them in college, and I live with 3 of my best friends, Lauren, Haley, and Audrey, shout out. But it's just like getting to come home each day and just like be surrounded with the people you love. I think there's genuinely nothing more meaningful than that. It's just like I wouldn't be able to be here every day if I didn't just love the people I surrounded myself with.
That's good. That's a good answer. Well, thank you for being on the show with me today. It was a pleasure.
Oh, thanks for having me, Reed.
All right. I'm going to pass this over to you, and I'll get you a pencil, but then the episode will end. So thank you, Shauna.
Ravenclaw Reed.